I got him over D Wade, but I'm out of pocket. Like D Wade, he had Shaq, then he had Bron. He better than D Wade, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Talk about
But I understood from the perspective of when these kids go to the court, they want to get in their bag. D Wade was more, I'm gonna get to my spot.
Jeff Teague, I respect you, but this is the dumbest thing that anyone has ever said. And this is the problem with new media. Despite James Harden and Dwyane Wade playing the same position and being offensively dominant for stretches of their careers, the similarities end there. One of these guys was an offensive juggernaut, but also a defensive stud, and was the first option on a championship winning team. The other guy is an offensive juggernaut who has never won a title and refuses to play defense. This one is not even close. Cue my intro! Hello, YouTube fam! It's your boy, Big V, the biggest Dwyane Wade fan in all the land. That's right, I'm repping my boy today because I am sick and tired of the disrespect. Despite the obvious moronism of this statement.
He better than D Wade, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
We here at this channel, we aim to not be dismissive. There seems to be a growing number of people who think James Harden is actually better than Dwyane Wade, or James Harden prime was better than Dwyane Wade prime. You'd be wrong, but let's take a look. Before we do our usual tail of the tape stats, let me just say one thing. The NBA is not like any other sport when it comes to judging playoffs. The NBA is not the NFL where you could still be a great player and not have a lot of playoff success, because in other leagues it's up to other things. In the NBA, with the longest playoff format, you inevitably will be judged by how you perform there. Now with new media, there's newer and newer takes because it seems that because someone played the game, that automatically means they're able to analyze and dissect the game at the highest level. Which, given Jeff Teague's comments, is absolutely untrue. And he is just one of many new media clowns, just speaking their minds, not putting any sort of analysis to it. There's a difference between knowing how to play and knowing how to commentate. Why do all great players have a hard time coaching? It's easy when it's natural to you. It's hard to explain what's natural to you to a large audience, right? So, to bring home my tangential point, when one guy has won significantly in the postseason and the other guy is known as a notorious postseason choker, when it comes to NBA, we shouldn't even be having this discussion. However, there's a lot of morons out there. And much like anything, we disprove morons with the facts. So, the tail of the tape. Here goes nothing, ladies and germs. NBA championships and seasons. Dwyane Wade 3. James Harden 0. James Harden has been to the finals only once, and he was a third option coming off the bench. Dwyane Wade has been to the finals 5 times. And he was the number 1 option 2 of those times. In one of them, they won in 2006. In the other, in 2011, Dwyane Wade was playing out of his mind, but LeBron James choked, so they lost. Then, in the other 3 finals in which he played, 2 of which, and then the other in which they won, he was the second best player. So, he was the best player on a championship team that won once, won a finals MVP, which we'll get to, then was second option on 2 more winning teams and 3 other losses. Plus was a number 1 option on another finals team that lost. Meanwhile, James Harden has been to the finals 1 time, no championships, and was a third option. Is the discussion over already? NBA seasons, James Harden 15, Dwyane Wade 16. Okay, very similar. Playoffs played, James Harden 15, Dwyane Wade 13. Wow. So you could say the quality of Harden's teams has been better, or Harden people could say, well, he willed his team to the playoffs. Be hard to argue with it in that one. But one must say, some of those Miami teams that Wade willed to the playoffs, they were a joke. And that's reflected in the All-Star games. James Harden 10, Dwyane Wade 13. So in the league, the same amount of seasons. but Wade has more All-Star appearances. But here, season MVP, James Harden 1, Dwyane Wade 0. Okay, hey, even as the greatest Dwyane Wade fan in the land, I can be objective. James Harden has won a season MVP. Dwyane Wade has not. Though he easily should have been given it in 2009, we can't play the shoulda, woulda, coulda game. That's a nod to Harden. Finals MVP, Dwyane Wade 1, Harden 0. All NBA first team, James Harden 6, Dwyane Wade 2. Whoa, that's a big difference. But one must also acknowledge the fact that, well, there's nothing to acknowledge really. James Harden 6, Dwyane Wade 2, so he has him in that category. All NBA teams, James Harden 7, Dwyane Wade 8. Okay. All defensive teams, James Harden 0, Dwyane Wade 3. Whoa. So like we said at the beginning, Dwyane Wade is by far a superior defender. But people's assessment of James Harden's skill, especially on offense, has yielded that he's on more All-NBA first teams. He's won a season MVP. So, hey, props to James Harden. And I will say, I was a big fan of James Harden. His prime was incredible. This is not to diminish any one of these guys. However, there's just massive levels to this shit. Scoring leader, James Harden 3, Dwyane Wade 1. Okay, but we have to admit that James Harden benefited greatly from the space and pace era. And this is why I say they're quite different as players, because James Harden's known for his step back three and drawing contact while driving, whereas Dwyane Wade was an elite slasher who, if his slashing got going, could then cook you with his jump shot, and much more clutch, better defender. But clearly, James Harden's the better scorer, because scoring leader, James Harden 3, Dwyane Wade 1. Assist leader, James Harden 2, Dwyane Wade 0. So we have to say, in an offensive capacity, especially in the space and pace era, James Harden seems to be responsible for more points. But assessing them as full players, it seems that while Wade is close in scoring capability and capacity, James Harden is nowhere near close in defensive capability. But let's continue. NBA regular season stats per game, points per game, James Harden 24.1, Dwyane Wade 22. Oh, so it's not really that big of a difference. Rebounds per game, James Harden 5.6, Dwyane Wade 4.7. Okay, good job to Harden. Assists per game, James Harden 7.1, Dwyane Wade 5.4. Okay, steals per game, James Harden and Dwyane Wade are tied at a steal and a half each. Blocks per game, pretty much tied. Okay, so Harden leading in the counting stats, total points. James Harden 26,000, Dwyane Wade 24,000. Total rebounds 6,000 to Harden, 5,000 to Wade. Total assists 7,600 to Harden, 5,700 to Wade. Steals a little more for Wade at 1,620. Blocks, whoa, way more for Wade. And games played, they're tied. So yes, according to this, it would seem that Harden has the nod in offensive counting stats, but Dwyane Wade has the nod in defensive stats. But the gap between offense is close, the gap on defense pretty far. But we must say, Harden has had a slightly better career. We must take into account that Dwyane Wade was significantly injured throughout his career. But we can't argue with results, right? But let's go to percentage. Field goal percentage. Harden 44%, Dwyane Wade 48%. Wait, so Harden is supposedly a better scorer, but he shoots way worse. Dwyane Wade has an almost elite field goal at 48. Harden is pedestrian at 44. So that's a big difference, meaning that Wade took more efficient shots and had to divvy up shots a lot more than James Harden did. Dwyane Wade played with LeBron James and Chris Bosh. You don't think that that means he has to give up a lot of shots, but he still maintained high efficiency. So this is why stats don't always tell the full story. 3-point percentage, Harden crushes in this. Very good 3-point percentage at 36% given his usage rate. Dwyane Wade 29%, so crappy 3-point shooter. Free throw percentage, Harden a little better or significantly better, about 10%. Best season in total given players at their top capability. Very important stat because we can see unimpeded what they might be able to do. Era makes a big difference here. Points per game, James Harden 36.1 in 2019. Whoa! 36 points a game? Okay, it was in 2019 at the, with the pace and space era being what it is, but you can't deny it. That's pretty incredible. Very, very, very good. Dwyane Wade 30.2 at 2009 in the year in which he should have won MVP. Sorry, and one must say 2009 was a very different defensive time than 2019, but Harden's better shooting from outside is going to help him get more points. Rebounds per game, James Harden 8.1, Wade 6.4. Assists per game, Harden 11.2, Wade 7.5. Steals per game, Wade 2.2, Harden 2. Blocks per game, Wade 1.3, James Harden 0.9. Okay, but those are regular season. And like we said, yes, regular season gives us a good framework. And as it stands, James Harden is a slightly better offensive player, but Dwyane Wade is a way better defensive player. Both of these guys are elite and made their teams win in the regular season because they both were able to get to the playoffs. However, the NBA being a playoffs league, let's see what they did in the playoffs. NBA playoffs, points per game. James Harden 22.7, Dwyane Wade 22.3. And remember, Dwyane Wade had LeBron James for a bulk of those playoffs. So even though he wasn't the first option and Harden was, they averaged the same. Rebounds per game, 5.5 for Harden, 5.2 for Wade. Same. Assists, James Harden 6.4, Wade 5. Okay, Harden's still a little better there. Steals per game, same. And blocks per game, Wade has double. Now, total points. Harden with 37.64 and Wade with 39.54. Wait a minute. So Harden's the better scorer. He has better counting stats. Oh, but wait, in the playoffs, when it matters most, those stats drop dramatically. And here's why we do this. And here's why this argument becomes super dumb and moot. Okay? Dwyane Wade, despite playing less games, playing with more offensively gifted players, has more points than James Harden. He has more total rebounds, 928 to 910. Total assists, 870 to Harden's 1061. Okay, so assists is the only category. Total steals, the exact same. Total blocks, Wade has 175 to Harden's 91. So double the block. Total games, James Harden 166, Dwyane Wade 177. So despite supposedly being a better player, which nobody with half a brain thinks, Harden has actually led his team to the playoffs less. And while in the playoffs, performed much worse than his regular season averages. Big problem, wouldn't you say? Playoff percentage, James Harden 43%. So the dude can't shoot for shit in playoffs nor in regular season from the field. 43 and 44%? Really? Meanwhile, Dwyane Wade still maintains 47% field goal percentage in the playoffs. So he's just as good in the playoffs as regular season, which by itself is an achievement. 3-point percentage. Oh, it was so much different, right? Well, James Harden 34% in playoffs. Dwyane Wade, 34%. Free throw percentage. James Harden 87, Dwyane Wade 78. So even that's less. But now best playoffs. Points per game. James Harden 31.6 in aforementioned 2019 pace and space era. Easier to score. Dwyane Wade 33.2 in 2010. Harder defense. Rebounds per game. James Harden 6.8 in 2019. Dwyane Wade 7.1 in 2011. Assists per game. James Harden 8.6 in 2022. Dwyane Wade 6.8 in 2010. Steals per game. James Harden 2.4. Wade 2.2. Blocks per game, Wade 1.6, Harden 1.0. So, while in the regular season, it would seem James Harden is a slightly better offensive player,
but Wade having the clear edge defensively. But when the lights are brightest, in the playoff format where it matters the most, Dwyane Wade is superior in every statistical category. And to answer both Teague and UD's point, the reason kids don't replicate Dwyane Wade but they do James Harden? It's simple, they can't.